Hello race fans and welcome to round 2 of the Ultimate eDriver series presented by Enzo Mucci, the race driver coach. My name is Peter Mackay and joining me in the commentary box this evening is Jack Canan, bringing you these beautiful pictures of the home of British motorsport. Silverstone is Marco Barbonera in our production booth in Rome. And Jack, we were treated to an absolute humdinger last time out at Spa with F3 cars. Today, the drivers surprised. They've only just found out what car and track they'll be using a couple of hours ago. And today, it's a Dallara LMP2 prototype around here at Silverstone. A match made in heaven, I would say.
Yeah, I love this car. I think a lot of people have a soft spot for this LMP2. It's so much fun. It's just an LMP1 without the ERS boost. So it's a real driver's car around here, and we've got some fantastic names once again to lap these great cars around this great track. We were at Spa last week, of course, in the F3 car, and it is Phil Dennis who took the win last time and did an excellent job, led from the pole and basically drove away from everybody else. We just have a couple more seconds to go, and there is the championship standings. Phil Dennis at the top, 25 points. Chris Lullum is second. Mike Epps third. Robert De Haan, Jonathan Hoggard, who's fastest in practice. Josh Malin, Gordy Much, Bart Horston, Elias Seppelin, and Thiago Vivacqua are your only point scores, only points for the top 10 in this one. And really looking forward to this one now as we tick over to immediately, as far as I can see, start gridding up for heat race number 1, Peter.
Yeah, but let's see how they look then. Phil Dennis will start on pole position alongside Jonathan Hoggard. Row 2 sees Matthew Payne and the Super Scotsman Sandy Mitchell. Row 3 will be Alexei Nezov and Alex Dunn, the Wonder Kid Carter from Ireland. In 7th will be Luke Bennett, followed by Robert De Haan. Row 5 sees Ollie Behrman and Raul Hyman. Eduardo Barrichello Jr. starting in 11th with Jaden Conroy in 12th. 13th is Maddie Hingley with Harry Cottrell joining him on row 7. Enzo Mucci and Eric Evans start on row 8, followed by Isaac Blomqvist, Jack Crawford, Callum Bradshaw, Ali Al Khalifa, Kyle Donaldson, Matt Stevens, Christopher Tarhan, and Dino Beganovic. And finally, on the 13th row, Tom Empson and Ted Bradbury. Of course, not a long pace, well, it's not even a portion of a pace lap here at Silverstone. The drivers are preparing behind the Porsche 911 pace car, just across from the Silverstone Porsche experience. So the thing here, Jack, and they've got to worry about is cold brakes, carbon fibre brakes on these Dallaras. Very powerful when they're up to temperature, but when they're not up to temperature, it's like, well, the brakes just aren't there at all. So it's going to have drivers going to have to take it pretty canny for the first couple of sectors.
Yeah, they really are going to. So they're going to have to, I think they're going to be sensible here. Of course, this is the heat race, so the top 15 from this one go straight through to the feature. The rest will go to the Consolation. So we've got 2 heat races and then the Consolation. So Phil Dennis, he's the championship leader at this moment with 25 points. Jonathan Hoggard, he is as quick as ever. He's quick in GT cars as Jonathan Hoggard. So interesting to see how he gets on. Matthew Payne did not have a good time last time in the F3 car. And Sandy Mitchell did have a good run out last time as well. So let's see. Phil Dennis, a big switch from his normal Indy Pro 2000 car into an LMP2. Let's see if he's as quick as he was then as we get ready to go for the green flag here in Silverstone for round number 2 of the Ultimate eDriver Series. Phil Dennis lead, Jonathan Hoggard second. Great start from Sandy Mitchell from row number 2. Slots in front of Matthew Payne. And there's already spins as they come through the last corner. Tom Empson and a couple of others spinning around in the background. So with Phil Dennis clear away, they're fanning out 3 abreast as they head into the first couple of corners. Alex Dunn makes up a space on Matthew Payne, who's not had a good getaway here. And Matthew Payne trying to come back. And there goes Matthew Payne around. Sorry, that's Alex. Sorry, it's Matthew Payne. It was Matthew Payne. It got tapped around again. He's not having a good run of form here. Is Matthew Payne getting unlucky in these early ones? Raul Hyman trying to get himself involved as they go 3, nearly 4 wide down to Brooklands. On the inside they go. We look at Alexei Nesov looks to have a slowdown penalty. On board we go, and look at this. It's just absolute chaos. There's Barrichello in front of him, Luke Bennett, and Ollie Behrman at the front of that one is Robert De Haan and Raul Hyman. But crucially for Phil Dennis, he avoided all of that carnage.
Yeah, Phil Dennis was the star of the show a couple of days ago at Spa and really doing what he does best. Phil is a fantastic race driver in the real world in the Indy Pro 2000 Championship and the Road to Indy single-seaters, but also super experienced, super quick. Seminole Behrman, whoa, has a bit of a moment there with Luke Bennett, the Genera Junior star. Wow, it's getting... this is interesting, Jack, that with the Formula 3 cars, we saw lots of close battling, but not so many collisions. Whoa, maybe having a roof and fenders around is... it certainly looks like it's causing the guys to be a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. There's Alexei Neslov going past Barrichello. Barrichello with the switchback trying to get past, but he can't quite do it. Somehow Luke Bennett kept it out of the wall there, so he's managed to actually keep going on full throttle through there. Big hop on the curb for Neslov. Through the last couple of corners, into club they go. It's Dennis from Hogard from Mitchell, from Dunn, Hyman to Hahn, Neslov, Barrichello, Blomqvist and Payne. And look at the slipstream he gets now. Barrichello towards turn 1. He's not going to go for it there. But we would advise you to keep watching, because there is going to be an interesting battle of the ages, because we've got Eduardo Barrichello. Next heat race, Peter, Rubens Barrichello is here, an absolute legend going to go around this track.
I know, I'm very excited for that. I once got Rubens Barrichello's autograph on a golf course in Portugal, and I'll never forget it. It was very, very cool. As we watch Alex Dunn, and you see these Dallara P2 cars, they get a brilliant draft effect. Really, really impressive how much of an advantage you can get from that slipstream. But Alex Dunn, he was a real star at Spa a couple of days ago and really acquitting himself well. He's putting some big pressure on double Spa 24-hour class winner Sandy Mitchell and British GT champion. So a guy that knows Silverstone very, very well, but a little bit more corner speed in that Dallara P2 than Sandy's more familiar Lamborghini Huracan.
Yes, certainly is indeed. And here's Luke Bennett as he tries to fight with Blomqvist. In fact, Alexei Neslov going wide there, and you can see Bradshaw and Matthew Payne get through. Here comes Jaden Conwright and Luke Bennett, who we were just looking at. So that's how quickly a mistake can cost you, and a big moment from Jaden Conwright there. And Luke Bennett should get the opportunity here to go around the outside as they head towards Stowe. It's going to be tricky to do that for this man here. He's in 6th gear on the limiter, going to fling it around the outside of Stowe corner. Conwright is still there on that inside line, but Bennett still keeps it in all the way around the outside of Stowe corner into the chicane. He goes, he's got the inside line. That was bravery, and that was a fantastic overtake.
Yeah, very classic club chicane overtaking manoeuvre. We're on the new layout of Silverstone. Occasionally on iRacing you'll see the old pre-2010 layout used on the service, but today we're on the proper the very latest edition of the Silverstone circuit, using the new kind of stadium section, if you like. And whoa, Callum Bradshaw getting dive bombed there by, now is that Dino Beganovic in a very, very snazzy painted Dallara. I mean, it is an Italian car, so it's got to look right.
Certainly has, but it's definitely. I wonder if he's trying to keep it camouflaged, or I don't know what's going on there. But he's really making it stand out nonetheless. Behind Callum Bradshaw, and back to the front they go. Phil Dennis is 1.5 seconds clear of Jonathan Hogard right behind him. Sandy Mitchell still under pressure from Alex Dunn in the background, and Ralph Hyman is kind of on his own there in P5, as is Robert DeHaan as they come through. Magid Zebecka's wonderful shots there as he came over the curb, and you can see just how much speed they carry through there, all the way through, hopping that curb there for Phil Dennis, and great work from him there as we're about to come onto the white flag lap. Actually, it's gone by very quickly in this opening heat. There is Alex Dunn in the slipstream of Sandy Mitchell, who at the same time is also starting to slightly catch up to Jonathan Hogard in P2. Now remember, they don't need to fight too hard. Top 15 go through, so right now the man on the bubble is Matty Hingley in that 15th spot. The rest have got to go through the Consolation. There he is, Matty Hingley, but he's under pressure from Ted Bradbury and from Christopher Tarhan, who's not too far off the back as well. So he's going to have to fight hard for this one in the last lap.
Yeah, absolutely. It's there's no time for rest at all. You've got to move to the front as quickly as you possibly can here. Super quick in these Dallara P2 machines, powered by a Gibson V8, made in Derbyshire actually. Although it's an Italian chassis, it's a Derbyshire engine. Proper, naturally aspirated V8, and whoa, Ted Bradbury going, oh, look at the understeer, look at that. It's quite a typical issue with these cars, quite a lot of slow speed understeer. You're turning the wheel and nothing's happening. It's like driving a boat sometimes, but when this car really comes into its own in the high-speed corners where you can use all that aerodynamics and it just flies. But my favourite thing about this car, Jack, is just the braking performance is extraordinary. Those carbon brakes, they fairly put on the anchors, but you don't need much braking distance.
No, you certainly don't. They've got loads of downforce in this car. And you can see now that was a little bit of understeer through cops for Sandy Mitchell. He's definitely under pressure from Alex Dunn right now. He's in, and you can see Dunn is firmly in his slipstream as they come through Maggots and Beckett's. So he may be able to have a go into Stowe. He can get the run out of Chapel. So crucially get on the power early there. And as they come down towards Stowe, I don't think he's going to be quite close enough to do it. But either way, he'll still be hanging in there in a very nice P4 for Alex Dunn, but no problems at all for last week's winner, last week's pole sitter. Again, it's another heat race win for Phil Dennis, the championship leader. He comes through, he wins heat race 1 and gets on the pole for the feature race. Jonathan Hoggart is second, Sandy Mitchell will hold on for third, Alex Dunn is fourth, Hyman fifth, and this battle right here, Luke Bennett with Alexei Neslov in front of him, Jaden Conroy, Bradshaw and Matty Hingley is just going to hold on to that final spot in the feature race. The rest we're going to see again in the consolation race.
We are indeed, yeah, and do not miss that because it's always a whole lot of fun. When things get a bit desperate. That was a great on-board shot there from Harry Cottrell. Just shows you that this car is it's a thoroughbred racer. You've got to treat it with a lot of respect, and when it steps out, you've got to be on top of it. But interesting first heat, but Phil Dennis basically, cementing his position as the championship favourite. He was dominant at Spa. He's been dominant in this opening heat. Can anyone from the second heat challenge him when we get to the feature? So this is how they finished then. Phil Dennis winning by just under 2 seconds from Jonathan Hoggard, with Sandy Mitchell moving up to third spot. Alex Dunn, the Irish kart star, was fourth, followed by Raul Hyman, Robert DeHaan, Eduardo Barrichello, Isaac Blomqvist, Matthew Payne, Alexei Nezov, Luke Bennett, Jaden Conroy, Callum Bradshaw, Dino Beganovic, and Matty Hingley, rounding out the top 15 who get their spot in the feature automatically. Starting on the front row for the heat, the second heat of the day is Chris Lullum alongside the Flying Barista, Mike Epps, our heat race winner last time out at Spa. Dennis Hauger and Bart Horston start on the second row, with Kimi Antonelli and Gordon Mutch on row 3. Josh Malin starts from 7th, with the Aston Martin factory star Ross Gunn starting from 8th. Liam McNeely starts 9th, with Victor Anderson 10th, Elias Seppänen in 11th, and Kasper Sutka in 12th. William Chadwick, Martin Stenshorn start on row 7, followed by Brandon Abraham, Thiago Vivacqua, Dev Gore, Matthias Kaprick, Alfred Nielsen, Rubens Barrichello, Christopher Hamer, James Goldstein, Bastian Boos, and Sebastian Ogard. And finally, Mikkel Hogard running out the 25-car field. Only 15 go through. We're going to have the number 15 car of Lullum leading us away. We saw Mike Epps get an absolute bullet start in the F3s a couple of days ago. Can he get the same this time? Chris Lullum's not going to let him have it. Oh, a little bit of oversteer there from Mike Epps, and it's an absolute rocket ship start. Oh, huge!
Oh, no.
One of the Red Bull cars, that's Dennis Hauger, off in a big way. I think Ross Gunn involved as well. Oh, my goodness me. Goodness me. Delara Rallycross there, well held from Bastian Boost there. Goodness me, it's carnage. Mike Epps has dropped down to 4th. Horston's moved up to 2nd. Josh Malin from deep in the pack is up to 3rd.
Yeah, I was actually about to say before this race start, watch out for Josh Malin. He's got great experience with this. Mike Epps gets around his outside and a good bit of oversteer for Josh Malin that time. Here comes Kimi Antonelli, Lee McNeely trying to get into slipstream as well. Look at that, he's trying to find some space at the inside. There's going to be contact. That was never going to work. Josh Malin gets punted involved in that one. This has been absolute chaos in the early part. Look at Elias Seppänen. He started all the way down in like P14. He's up into 4th. That's an unbelievable start from the Finn. He's into 4th. McNeely, Anderson, Gunn, Abraham, and Rubens Barrichello has survived. He's up to 14th.
Yeah, Rubens Barrichello, the wily old fox, starting from outside the top 20, just picking his way through the field very, very nicely, and already in the transfer spots. But it's Chris Lullum who leads by 1.8 seconds from Bart Horston, with Mike Epps in 3rd. Started 2nd, just edged back a little bit, a victim of the early melee. Goodness me, but Josh Malin's got it all to do. He is in the transfer spots, but really want to be further up than that. And here he is, Rubens Barrichello. Well, Jack, I have to say, I was a young man when Rubens Barrichello was racing for Ferrari, and I have to say, it's an absolute privilege and an honour to call a race with him taking part.
Absolutely, and I'm sure these guys right here are going to be absolutely loving the chance to go up against him right now. Kimi Antonelli, a young Italian karter. Mikael Højgaard, he was last, and he's up to 14th. There goes Antonelli, past Rubens Barrichello as they come up towards turn number 1 then. So he's right on the bubble here, is Rubens. We are right on board with him now as he comes through turn number 1, trying to keep with Antonelli here as they come through. We've got Mikael Højgaard, who started right at the very, very back. He's made his way all the way up to 14th. And Josh Malin just makes his way through past him there into the first couple of corners now. But Rubens hanging in there nicely, and fantastic to see him out right there. And it would be great to see him get through so we can have Eduardo and Rubens on the same grid.
Oh, stand back. Well, I know we're supposed to be impartial as commentators, and we are, Jack. But I'm just going to say, come on, Rubens! This is brilliant, fantastic stuff. We go over the stripe halfway already in this race. Chris Lullum leads. The British F4-star Brandon Abraham, a good start from him in the 44 car. Showing you here, whoa, a little bit of track limits abuse there from McNeely ahead as they head into Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. Now this section, Lewis Hamilton says this is the section of tarmac anywhere in the world. He says, Eau Rouge and Radion, it's got nothing on Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel.
No, it's just a great section when you have a car with downforce. These cars are certainly going to be one of those. So, yeah, Brandon Abraham and William Chadwick, both Mazda MX-5 drivers. Lee McNeely, Janetta Jr., so lower-end GT guys, and they're right up in the thick of it in LMP2 cars and iRacing. And still is quick. Here is Josh Malin. There's Mikael Højgaard, but Josh Malin is the man in front. He's battling with Rubens, but Højgaard is the man who's on the bubble of getting through. He's got Mateusz Kaprik in P16 right behind him. The top 15 go through. Bart Horston, fastest man on track right now, behind Chris Lullum by a tenth of a second. But remember, Chris Lullum, he's second in the championship, so he needs to get through, get himself on that front row, because there's only a few rounds of this championship, so every single point counts. So if he can get himself on that front row, that'll be a massive step for him. As Josh Malin trying to get through past Rubens, he's not going to let him through that easy. Rubens gives him a little nudge up the inside, but Malin, lovely bit of driving around the outside right there. But Barrichello will have the run down the Wellington straight into Brooklands. He has the inside line now, but this is fantastic. Straight back up the inside, but Josh Malin so late on the brakes around the outside and keeps it into Luffield and keeps it in front of the Brazilian. Try and get a run down towards Cops Corner. It's going to be very tricky, but as a young driver, I mean, how often do you get the opportunity to share a track with a man like Rubens?
Well, I have to say, this is one of the cool things about iRacing. I did end up actually driving in a multi-class race with Rubens Barrichello. The great part was I was in a P2 car and he was in a GT, so I can say I've overtaken Rubens Barrichello, but it's probably not exactly fair, is it? But that was very, very cool. But yeah, great to have him a part of this as well, and also his son Eduardo, who's gave us some fantastic entertainment on Friday night, and there is plenty more to go here in the Ultimate eDriver Series. We are back on Wednesday night, same time, 7 p.m. GMT, and the final round on Friday. So it's quick fire, and as with these opening 2 rounds, the drivers do not know the car or the track until a couple of hours before. There's a big look up the inside there from Caprich, I think, on the inside of Rubens, and Rubens says, no you don't, and off he goes into the grass.
I think Barrichello got a slowdown through Maggots and Vegas. He's dropped now outside the transfer spot. He needs one spot to get himself into the feature. He has to avoid the Consolation, so he's going to have to pass Bastien Bou. So we know how fast he is from last week. Trying to get past the Dane here in who's driving the GT4 European Championship, and he's got a fellow Brazilian behind him, Vivacqua, as well. But Chris Lullum is miles in front. He's in Luffield. And with Bart Horston, British F3 driver in P2, Mike Gepps a further 2 seconds back. Elias Sepinen was the man who gained the most out of that first lap chaos, drove through everybody up to P4. And we now go back. There is Bastien Bou with Barrichello behind, Mikael Højgaard just in front. Both these guys started right at the back of the field, so they've done well to get themselves into those immediate transfer spots. But you can see he's going to have his work cut out here with just half a lap to go to try and stay in front of Rubens Barrichello, who's right on his tail. We have a battle for 10th here. Alfred Nilsson and Dev Gore are the ones fighting it out here, and Josh Malin has recovered back up to the back of this train as well. So Josh Malin recovered very well after that first lap massive off to get himself in. But Chris Lulham, that's a crucial one for him. He's P2 in the championship. He is going to start in 2nd place for the feature race next to his championship rival. He wins Heat Race 2. Great stuff from Chris Lulham, British F4 driver. Bar Horston P2, British F3. Mike Epps, GT4, and a fastest lap for Bar Horston. Well, actually, no, goes to Mike Epps at the end, 43.7. Rubens is trying hard to get through here, but he's not quite going to be able to do it. He's going to have to go through the consolation race. Last spot goes to Bastien Boos for P15. So, oh God, Rubens is going to have to go through that consolation race.
Well, we are going to get Rubens Barrichello on the front row of the consolation race. I mean, could we not be spoiled anymore, Jack, to have the consolation race, which is always very exciting, because there's such a small amount of places to go through to the feature. But we're going to have Rubens Barrichello on the front row of the consolation race. Absolutely extraordinary. I can imagine being teammates to Michael Schumacher in his pomp must have been a consolation race in itself as well. But confirming Chris Lulham 2 seconds to the better from Bart Horston in 2nd, with Mike Epps finishing 3rd. Elias Sepinen was 4th, followed by Ross Gunn, Victor Anderson, Liam McNeely, Brandon Abraham, William Chadwick, Alfred Nielsen, Dev Gore, Josh Malin, Kimi Antonelli, Mikkel Højgaard, and Bastien Boos getting the last spot on the feature race grid automatically. So here we go then. It's time for the consolation race. Ted Bradbury starts on pole position alongside Rubens Barrichello. Row 2 will be Christopher Tarhan and Thiago Vivacqua on row 2. Row 3 will be Ollie Behrman and Matthias Caprich. Row 4 will be Kian Donaldson and Sebastian Ogard. And row 5, Jack Crawford and Kasper Stuka. Row 6 will be Tom Emson and Christopher Hamer. And finally, we have Harry Cottrell, James Goldstein, Matt Stevens, Martinez Stenshorn, Ali Al Khalifa, Dennis Hauger, Eric Evans, Gordon Much, and Enzo Mucci. Tell you what, Jack, Dennis Hauger from 18th on the grid, you've got to watch for him coming through the pack. He is super quick, obviously in the real world, but very quick in the sim as well.
Yeah, he was looking really, really good in that other race before he got involved in that, literally before the race even started at the last corner. But only the top 5 go through from this one, so this is going to be very hard fought. Ted Bradbury on your left of shot, Rubens Barrichello on your right. So Ted Bradbury will get to control everything here. Now, so he's going to back that pack up as much as he possibly can and try and get that run out of the last corner. So it's going to be paid to be on the inside right here. Ted leaving it very late to go here as he goes through. Now he goes, so green flag will wave as they come through the last corner, and green flag they go towards turn number 1. So Ted Bradbury didn't get the best start actually, so as they come across the line, he's going to be under pressure from Rubens Barrichello. He's got his fellow Brazilian Vivacqua behind him. Ollie Behrman has been a big one in turn 1 with a couple of cars running off the road as they come through towards the middle sector right now. So Bradbury leads, Rubens Barrichello in 2nd, couple of cars running off the road there, but managing to rejoin sort of safely in the mid-pack, and going to get shoved out wide there. Harry Cottrell, I think, getting caught up, and he gets a ram in the rear as well. There's going to be a big one again on the exit. Ali Al Khalifa was involved right there, and couple of others, but Ogard and Hauger already out, so Dennis Hauger had an absolute disaster of a day here today. But clean one from Ted Bradbury, clean one from Rubens Barrichello, not for Vivacqua though. He gets a tap in the rear, I think, from Ollie Behrman at that time by. So Ollie Behrman, I think, got into the back of him slightly there. So Kasper Stuka going to try and get past the Englishman here, but clean one from Bradbury. Left it, interestingly, very late to go, and maybe didn't get the advantage that he maybe should have.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jack. I think with the nature of the final corner, you kind of want to gas it up and go as quick as you can and try and catch them napping, but Barrichello had him covered there as well. But so we see, James Goldstone having a bit of a problem, having to go straight on. He'll have to take a slow down penalty. That's not helpful. God, this is absolute carnage. Tell you what, coming down the front straight there after the green flag, it was like the back straight at Talladega. Absolutely incredible. All of these cars are right on board with the 46 of Christopher Tarhan. He's getting squeezed out to the edge by Harry Cottrell up there in that blue and yellow machine, who's got a little bit of damage to the rear as they head down to the club chicane. And here goes Tarhan to go for a little bit of, well, a Tarzan dive bomb there, and oh, gets
Oh no.
from the 43 car of, was that Evans? I think it was. Oh no, Enzo Mucci. Oh, well, he is the series organizer, so at least he won't be getting a penalty for it.
How about Enzo? 22nd to 9th in one lap. that is, I think his coaching is working, Enzo Mucci. That is fantastic.
Yoda has become Skywalker.
Up to 9, 12 spots in one. But how about Gordy Much? 14 places in one lap for the Scotsman. And he's now on the verge of actually making it through. So great drive from all those guys to make it through. There is Gordy Much, and the man in front of him is Emsen. He just needs to pass him, and he will be going through to that feature race. So great drive from the Genetic GT5 driver from Scotland. Now only a lap and a half to go. It's only 3 laps this race. That's why it's so frantic and frenetic here in this part of the race, as this is Goldstein and Eric Evans fighting it out for P11. So it's not going to mean much, but either way, they want to try and make as much progress as they possibly can up through the field. So Eric Evans going to have to hang back and try again, but it's going to be a white flag as we come across the line this time by. So you really want to be making moves very, very early on. That's why it got so chaotic in the early part. As you can see, that was really close with Jack Crawford as they came through over the curve. He's going to have to run wide, Eric Evans, and give that spot straight up to Jack Crawford. There goes Gordy Much into that feature race. Great drive.
Yeah, he's on the move, isn't he? You can see in there, Gordy Much, sponsored by the John Clark Motor Group, one of the longest standing car dealers in Scotland. I bought an Audi RS3 from John Clark Motor Group. It was a lovely car. Wrong gearbox, though, unfortunately. As Ted Bradbury goes into the final lap with Barrichello right on his case, and Gordon Much sets the fastest lap of this consolation race, about a second off what Mike Epps' fastest lap was in the heats, as we see Martinez Stenshorn having a big lunge up the inside in the Jumbo, the Team Racing Netherlands liveried car, the team owned by Fritz van Aert, the world's fastest grocer.
Good stuff from him there. Jack Crawford got awfully close to the back of Vivacqua there. Look at that! Oh, that is unbelievable. The squeeze being put on by Jack Crawford, and that okay. I think the stewards going to be looking at that one. That certainly didn't look from either of them there, but either way, we go back to the front. It's the consolation race. It happens. But Ted Bradbury leading from Rubens Barrichello, Ollie Behrman in third, Kasper Stuka in fourth, and Gordy Much is P5. He's still got Emsen right behind him, but he should be able to hold on here. It's going to be a little bit close with Emsen, actually. There's going to be pretty hard fight. He needs the run out of Chapel here to keep himself in front as they come through here, but he should be able to hold on with a 7/10 of a second lead across over the stripe. But it is the white flag lap. So as we come through, look at this. This is Rubens trying to keep in front of Ollie Behrman. Behrman gets in front just as they come towards the chicane. He's going to have a go here. Barrichello's going to watch out for Kasper Stuka right behind him, but he's going to lose that second place, is he? Ted Bradbury is going to take the win. Here comes, there's going to be a slowdown for one of the cars behind. Kasper Stuka is going to take both of them and try and get through in that third place. So Behrman, Stuka and Barrichello. Barrichello was through. Gordy Much is P5, fastest lap, and makes it through to the feature race. He will be starting last on the grid, but chaotic as always, the consolation race.
Yes, as always, it certainly is. With a little bit of aggression further back in there, as well as Enzo Mucci gets up to 13th position from near the back of the pack. Pretty impressive indeed. So let's see how they line up then for the finale here today at Silverstone. Phil Dennis starting on pole position with Chris Lillum alongside him in second. Row 2 will be Jonathan Hoggard and Bart Horston. Sandy Mitchell and Mike Epps start on row 3 with Alex Dunn and Elias Seppänen on row 4. Raul Hyman and Ross Gunn start on row 5, followed by Robert Dehaan and Victor Anderson. 13th will be Eduardo Barrichello Jr. alongside Liam McNeely with Isaac Blomqvist and Brandon Abraham on the 8th row. Row 9 will be Matthew Payne and William Chadwick, followed by Alexei Nezov, Alfred Nielsen, Luke Bennett, Dev Gord, Jaden Conroy and Josh Malin. Row 13 will be Callum Bradshaw and Kimi Antonelli, followed by Dino Beganovic, Mikael Højgaard, Matti Hengeli, Bastian Buss, Ted Bradbury, Ollie Behrman, Kasper Sutka, Rubens Barrichello, and finally Gordon Much rounding out our 35-strong field. So our drivers prepared behind the Porsche 911 pace car, which pulls off. Porsche 911 pace car in wonderful GT3 touring specification as well, without the rear wing, with, of course, the lovely iRacing graphics on it too. What can Phil Dennis do? I mean, he's been so impressive so far. Now, if you're wondering what on earth he's going to do here, nearly hitting the pace car, he's trying to generate heat in those brakes. Carbon brakes are fantastic, but only when they are warm enough. When they are cold, they are like stone. So Phil Dennis desperately trying to pump some heat into those brakes and into those tyres if he can. He leads away. Is he going to be as relaxed as Ted Bradbury? Oh, he sells a bit of a dummy and Lulham gets caught out and has to back out of it. That'll kill his run as they all rush down towards turn one. But Phil Dennis gets away perfectly and Lulham really needs to get on top of him now as well. I think that's Sandy Mitchell had to take evasive action out onto the paint there. That'll lose him a lot of positions.
Yeah, there's cars running off into the runoff, left, right and centre here as they try to sort themselves out. It was actually Alex Dunn who had to take to the runoff that time as they came through the first couple of corners. Another driver going wide. There's a stack up here as they came through the first corners there. Rubens Barrichello down 27th spot, but there is Phil Dennis as they go. Oh, that's Dino Vaganovic into the back of him. There's Raul Hyman getting into the back of Eduardo Barrichello as they came down into Brooklands. They managed, the rest of the field up the top of it at least got away very cleanly. Phil Dennis, Lulham, Horston, Hoggard, Sepinen, Gunn, then Eduardo Barrichello, Alex Dunn, Lee McNeely and Brandon Abraham on board with Alex Dunn now in P8 as he closes in on Eduardo Barrichello in front of him as now through Copse Corner. A lot of understeers there. The tyres are not up to temperature just yet in these cars. Very easy to pick up a slowdown on this opening lap, but it is at least Phil Dennis out in the lead. Can he go for two in a row?
Well, it's looking good so far for Phil Dennis. Really, in these early laps on cold tyres, you can make such a difference in this car when it's so hard to get confidence when the tyres are cold, the brakes are cold, and the car just feels really unhappy. It's a proper carbon fibre thoroughbred race car. It's actually the same shell that they use, or the same spine that they use for the Cadillac DPI car as well, just with a very different engine. As whoa, dearie me, Eduardo Barrichello gets his nose swiped by Ross Gunn, and Alex Dunn says, "Thank you very much, I will slip on by there." Oh, that was tough there from Ross Gunn, the Aston Martin factory driver.
Eduardo's not taking no for an answer though. He hangs around the outside of Alex Dunn as he comes through turn one into turn two and into three, still side by side here. He's going to run him off wide. There's Alex Dunn and through comes a couple of others. Lee McNeely steaming back up the inside comes Barrichello and forces Alex Dunn wide as they came through the corner. Lee McNeely says, "Thank you very much, I'll take that one." Dunn rejoins the action with Sandy Mitchell right behind him as they head towards Brooklands. Look at this, they're trying to defend for dear life as they come down here. There goes Dunn, three abreast into Brooklands. That is not going to work, surely. They somehow come out in one piece, but the man who wins from that one is currently Lee McNeely on board with Sandy Mitchell, who's getting a front row seat for all of this as they come through Luffield. Defensive line from Lee McNeely, Dunn on the back of him. Looking at Barrichello in front now. Look at this. There's 7-8 cars fighting for positions. They come down into Copse Corner. Dunn sticks it up the inside. Barrichello goes through as well. Sandy Mitchell running off the road wide a little bit now. Josh Malin on the outside as they come through. Maggots and Beckes. This is absolute chaos in the Ultimate eDriver Series as they fight for position, desperately throwing moves left, right and centre. But the man who came out on top at the moment, there is Matthew Payne making a move through past Josh Malin and Gordy Much up from the back of the grid. He's up to 15th.
Yeah, the brilliant start from Gordon Much. Not a good start for Mike Epps, down in 19th, so he's hit problems early on, maybe caught up in that turn 1 and 2 melee, but it's business as usual for Phil Dennis, just edging out to about a second now from Chris Lulham, and that is just starting to stretch beyond where the draft will start to have an effect. So he's really laying down the pace. A 144 flat on, well, not quite full fuel, but more fuel than been running in the heats. That is hot pace from Phil Dennis. And I tell you what, chat, these cars, they just work so well around this Silverstone circuit. So much downforce, so much aerodynamic performance. You see Kimi Antonelli having a big lunge. That's a karting move. That one is just stuff it up the inside. Brilliant stuff. And Kimi Antonelli running the livery of the only the only contemporary team using this Dallara car still in the real world, the Secular team, of course, an Italian team.
Yeah, get a little bit of oversteer as he entered into Brooklands right there. There's Gordy Much up to P12. He started P35, ladies and gentlemen, so he's a very good... he's a good man to make his way through the field when he needs to. Gordy Much is going to maybe try and make a position here on Kimi Antonelli as they come up towards Copse Corner, getting firmly in the slipstream, dives out to the outside line. Where is he going to go? He's going to have a steam around the outside of Copse Corner. He's going to get run out wide, surely leaves him the room. Gordy Much all the way around the outside of Copse Corner, gets it done. That is the move of the season right there, Peter.
I think so. There's a saying that we have here in Scotland, and it's jings. My goodness me, that was such a good move there from the number 50, Gordon Much, and he is on the charge. He's got the bit between his teeth, up to 11th position. It's not even at half race distance yet, so goodness knows how deep in the field he can get, and he's loving this Dallara P2, which is very, very different to the Ginetta he drives in the real world.
It's a little bit. I think it's got a little bit more downforce.
A little bit, yeah.
Just a tiny bit. The 43.6 for Dennis that time. Chris Lullum keeping pace with him though. 43.8. He's the only other guy in the 43s right now. Now Josh Malin, another GT5 driver. He's going to also line up here. Kimi Antonelli into turn 1. Matthew Payne in the background as well, trying to recover from a poor day at the office once again for the New Zealander. Antonelli running a little bit wide into there. Josh Malin keeping it nice and steady. He was the GT5 champion this season, so trying to keep it in check here as he tries to get a cutback line. Hops the curb a little bit there, and that'll affect his exit a little bit there as they come through. Matthew Payne might be able to capitalise just a tad as they head towards Brooklands, but they're all now in a very orderly line. But a man who's now starting to come under a little bit of pressure is Bart Horston from Jonathan Hoggard behind.
Yeah, and we know Jonathan Hoggard is super quick. Look at that difference in lap 2 and 3 as they come over the line to finish lap 4. I keep getting... Tell you what, the old habits die hard. 10 years that's not been turn 1. I still think it's turn 1. We're coming through what was the old turn 1 and now through to Maggots, Beckett's and Copse. And yeah, Jonathan Hoggard certainly got the local knowledge here, that's for sure. And he's definitely close enough now to get a bit of a drag from Bart Horston down towards Stowe, down the Hanger Straight, opening up that Gibson V8. All those ponies from that engine made in the heart of Derbyshire, no less. And Jack, do you know what that Gibson V8 in the back of this car and Ayrton Senna have in common?
No, because you're going to tell me.
I'm going to tell you, yes. So the man who, Mr. Gibson, who has Gibson Technologies, he actually started up Zytec, and Zytec started off making electronic engine management systems for Formula One. In fact, they're the first company to do so, and one of their early clients was Tolman when none other than Ayrton Senna drove for them. So a nice tenuous 6 degrees of separation for you. You know I like those.
Yeah, exactly. Come through turn 1 once again. Just notice Chris Lullum, he's nipping away at the gap a little bit, isn't he? He brought the gap down to about 9/10 of a second right now, which is right in the draft range for Chris Lullum, so he's keeping the pressure on his championship rival. Here's Robert DeHaan and Brandon Abraham, who are battling it out for P9 right here. And as they come down the Wellington Straight, look at the defence put on from Brandon Abraham there. Robert DeHaan's going to have to go the long way around at Brooklands, which is not going to be an easy task. Switchback line for Luffield. He'll get shown the gravel on the outside if he tries that. And Brandon Abraham just parks it on the apex. Like there's nothing Robert DeHaan can do about that one, but he'll get a nice run up towards Copse Corner here. Here he comes. He's going to go for the inside line. Look at the overspeed he got through there. Keeps it on the inside line, sticks up the inside, and straight through goes Robert DeHaan into P9. And here we are with Bart Horston and Jonathan Hoggard. Bart Horston, British F3 driver. Jonathan Hoggard, Asian Carrera Cup. As they come down towards Stowe, he's going to get nicely in that slipstream as they head up to Stowe. Not going to quite get there though as they come down into the club chicane. But better run from Bart Horston through there. You can see now you get an idea of the speed they're carrying. It doesn't look like much, but they're 150 miles an hour on the brakes into the last couple of corners. Onto lap 6 of 8, and Chris Lullum, I mean, he's starting to just maybe put a little bit of pressure on our leader right there. You can see a very, very marginal difference in lap time at 43.7 and 43.6, but he's keeping that gap at a second, so he's not letting Phil Dennis go like he did last week.
No, definitely not. And you notice here, this is a brilliant onboard shot with Jonathan Hoggard. You just notice how, oh, look at that, oh, backing it in and makes contact and spins. Oh, Jonathan Hoggard. Oh, and he's pointing the wrong way. Does well to not collect any other drivers, but oh, he was really pushing hard there, using every last bit of brake pressure and just locked up. So we were getting a great onboard study there of just how busy Jonathan Hogard on what looks like a relatively shallow corner, really busy on the wheel and just locks it up on the brakes, knocks into the side of Horston, and oh, lucky not to have a bigger accident than that. But that could be big for the championship implications, because Jonathan Hogard, he really was a contender.
He just locked up the rears heading in there, and turning right into a left-hander that time for him was not ideal. Here's Brandon Abraham with Gordy Much in front of him, so Gordy Much has actually got past him while that was going on. So he's into the top 10 now from 35th on the grid. Not a bad job from Gordy Much today. He's really driven out of his skin, and he's got the next car in front of Robert De Haan. So we didn't see when he made that move, but I'm sure it was a good one. It always is a good overtake with Gordy Much. He never does it by half, so he just throws it up the inside right there, and gets it, just shows him the curb on the exit as well, so there's nothing he could have done there. It's good Brandon Abraham, so break. Actually, absolutely firm but fair from Gordy Much, and lap 7 of 8, 2 laps to go, and Phil Dennis looks absolutely unbeatable once again.
Yeah, Phil Dennis has just been absolutely imperious. A new signing for the Buro Sud BS competition team, a team that have really come to the fore in sim racing on a global level, on the absolute elite level, and you do not get a drive for BS competition unless you are a top performer. And well, I remember commentating on the IMSA iRacing Challenge, and the flying zebras, they're a zebra pattern. You say spot the zebra with the BS competition cars, and those 3 BMW M8s just cleared off into the distance. And Phil Dennis is, well, he's certainly on brand there. A brilliant start to his career with his team, but Chris Lulham's not letting him have it that easy. This would just take one slip up and Chris is all over him.
Yeah, he certainly is. Chris has driven a good race today, P2, and he's still going to be P2 in that championship because he's got that P2 in the heat race as well. So done a good job. FIA British Formula 4 driver. So 2 different forms of junior categories going at it right here. You've got the British F4 and then the American Indy Pro 2000. Not too dissimilar. The Indy Pro 2000 would be a faster car, of course, but you see 2 different junior categories from across the water. Fighting it out on iRacing. So it'll be the white flag for Phil Dennis on this lap, and he can maybe just not take it easy, but he can just maybe avoid and then keep it nicely between the lines, and he should have another victory, 2 in a row, and a fastest lap actually, 43.6. But Chris Lulham, he's still right there. He's only 0.03 of a second slower on that lap, and so he really does have the pace in this one. Here's Kimi Antonelli with Brandon Abraham in front, Josh Malin, Sandy Mitchell, all embroiled in their own little fight for P11, but Gordy Much has broken away from them. So I don't think Gordy Much is going to catch up any further to Robert De Haan. He's got 2 seconds in front, but I mean, a 35th to a 10th, I think that's the driver of the day for me.
Can't disagree. That is absolutely exceptional. And the thing is, when you look at the depth of field, I mean, it's just exceptional. All of these drivers race competitively in the real world and regularly on the sim too. So to cut through a field of any field in that sort of rate is just exceptional. And he'd done all that by lap 4 as well. Absolutely amazing stuff from Gordon Much. There's a name to look out for. But tell you what, who's been super entertaining as well is young Kimi Antonelli in this 32 car. He's always looking for an opening, no matter what corner on the circuit it is. He's always showing his nose, trying to stuff it up the inside wherever he can. So exciting.
Yeah, it definitely is, and you can really tell who's a carter at the moment. They'll just throw it up the inside and hope for the best, versus some of these guys. But here is the man who's been in imperious form for the past couple of days. He's going to go 2 in a row in the Ultimate eDriver Series as he comes down into the club chicane, and he will take victory at Silverstone through the last corner. Phil Dennis goes 2 from 2. He wins in Silverstone in the LMP2. Chris Lulham keeps second in the championship in second place. Bart Horston hangs on for third. Elias Sepinen in fourth. Ross Gunn, Alex Dunn, Eduardo Barrichello, Jonathan Hogard, And then it'll be Robert Zahan, Gordy Much from last on the grid to 10th, Josh Malin 11th, Sandy Mitchell in P2. I'm pretty sure there's just been disqualifications there for Antonelli and Abraham in the last 2 corners there. I just seen them pop off the timing screens. So I didn't see what happened, but I think there may have been contact, Peter.
Oh, and of course, only 17 incident points allowed. 4 for contact, 2 for a loss of control, 2 for contact with a wall, and 1 for track limits. And track limits easy to break here, but let's have a look what's happened to Kimi Antonelli as they come down in the stove for the final time. I wonder if it's maybe just a simple track limits, and we'll see if it is. His car will just disappear. A little bit, yeah, there you go. A little bit of contact, and that was enough to press him over the limit. Well, goodness me, what an exciting event once again, Jack. But Phil Dennis, he is just on a march. And it seems that, okay, the Formula 3 car and the P2 car, they're a high downforce machine, but they're different enough to show that Phil Dennis has got the adaptability. And obviously, I've watched him be so dominant in a Porsche 911 RSR GT car. So whatever they've got for him on Wednesday, the rest of the competitors will be, we think, is scratching their heads how to beat this young American. So there's your results then, confirming Phil Dennis winning by 1.3 seconds from Chris Lullum, with Bart Horston rounding out the podium. Elias Sepinen finished in 4th, with Ross Gunn 5th. Alex Dunn, the young Irish karter, great finish for him in 6th, with young Eduardo Barrichello finishing in 7th. So he gets the bragging rights in the Barrichello household tonight. Jonathan Hoggard finished 8th, followed by Robert DeHaan and Gordon Much from 35th on the grid. What a charge from that man. Josh Malin was 11th, followed by Sandy Mitchell, Matty Hingeli, Victor Anderson, Mike Epps, unfortunately hitting problems early on, with William Chadwick 16th, Callum Bradshaw 17th, and Brandon Abraham 1 lap down in 18th position. Rounding out the rest of our runners, we have Kimi Antonelli, Jaden Conright, Kasper Skutka, Matthew Payne, Liam McNeely, Raul Hyman, Dev Gore, Bastian Boos, Ted Bradbury, and Rubens Barrichello finishing 7 laps, obviously having an early retirement. Mikael Højgaard was 29th, followed by Ollie Beerman, Dino Boganovic, Luke Bennett, Isaac Blomqvist, Alexei Nezov, and Alfred Nielsen. So a lot of drivers falling out of that relatively short race, Jack.
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously, there was probably a big stack up somewhere in that opening lap that obviously caught out a lot of people. But the top guys made it through and did what they needed to do and brought it to the end once again. So I believe already they're very quick off the mark today, Peter. Phil Dennis is already standing by in the interview waiting area. So I'll hand them over to you, Peter.
Phil, this is becoming a bit of a habit, my friend. Congratulations on a win there. How did you enjoy that one?
Oh, well, it was interesting. I wasn't expecting this combo today, and it was interesting to say the least. I mean, there was a lot of hard racing. I kind of just found my footing in this car, and me and Chris were pretty similar pace. I just had that little bit of an edge, and once you kind of get out and into a string of cars, there's not much you can do with the way the aero works, the aero wash. And I just kept putting the laps down, and I was comfortable out front, and I couldn't be happier to get another win. There's 3 wins in a row now with my new BS competition team, and it's great.
It's certainly intriguing to watch. Of course, the Dallara P217, the closed roof P2 car, is a relatively new addition to the iRacing service. Is it a car that you've raced much up to now?
Actually, no, I haven't really driven it that much. I drove it when it first came out, and to be honest, I took a liking to the other cars a little bit more, and kind of went away from it. But I felt pretty good here today, and might have to come back to it in the future.
Well, it certainly was working well, and of course at Silverstone, a circuit where you really are leaning on the aerodynamics so much as well. Phil, before we let you go to go and enjoy yet another win, and I would say go and do some practice, but we've no idea where we're going in 2 days' time. Who would you like to give a shout out to here on Apex Racing TV?
Oh, of course, you guys for putting this on. You guys always do such a great job. BS Competition for being such a great team. My friends and family for always supporting me, and for Track Racer for putting on this event.
Oh, fantastic stuff, Phil. And now that you're a BS competition driver, we're looking forward to the zebra-themed merch, Phil Dennis merch. So we're looking forward to the release of that.
We'll see about that.
Fantastic stuff. Well done, Phil, and looking forward to speaking to you again very soon.
Thank you.
So that was Phil Dennis, our double winner now here in the Ultimate eDriver Series. Can anyone stop him? Well, we have another driver coming in to have a chat with us who had a strong finish in the top 20 this afternoon. Jack Canan is with Will Chadwick.
Yeah, Will, I mean, these cars are just a little bit faster than an MX-5. So right in the mid-pack the whole way through there, looked chaotic from where we were. How did you find it overall?
It was a really good race, but the cars, it's just so hard to overtake. I mean, we had a decent starting position in 18th, and at the start finish line, if you go wide at all, you just get a 1 second slowdown. And avoiding accidents, I got a 1 second slowdown, which I then had to try and take before turn 2, and then, well, I had about 5 cars spinning me around. But we got back going. We got, I think, up to 16th in the end, which isn't too bad. Obviously, looking at where some of the people that were around me managed to finish, especially Gordy, massive shout out to him. He did a 25 place, I think it was. Really good effort from him, yeah. No, but they're a good car to drive. It's just very hard to race them.
Yeah, we don't know where we're going in 2 days' time. So we've had an open wheeler and we've had an LMP2. So what are you hoping for in 2 days' time? What would you like to see?
I'm still vouching for the GT3s. I can't wait to see those. Hopefully not at Long Beach. I really hope we don't go to Long Beach, because I think we've been at some open tracks and maybe Long Beach will end up being even more carnage. But you put so many people in a lobby, and we're all having fun at the end of the day. And high hope for GT3s. We'll see where we can go. Silverstone was a good track, and it's a nice car, just very hard to overtake, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, before we let you go, Will, who would you like to give a quick shout out to on Apex Racing TV?
The organiser of the event, Enzo, everyone at Apex, really good job setting up these. They're fantastically run. Vibe Esports, IMB Racewear, if you want any fantastic gloves that I have right here that are helping me go as fast as possible. And everyone in the Discord chat, Mike, Gordy, Josh, all having a good time. And I'll see you in 2 days' time, I suppose.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us once again. We'll speak to you in 2 days' time.
Speak to you in a bit.
So, Will Chadwick, always up for a chat as Will. You've got pick of the bunch next, Peter. You've either got Alex Dunn or Bart Horston.
Well, I think I'm going to have a chat with Bart Horston and see how he got on. Let's get him in and have a chat. Bart Horston, welcome to the Apex Racing TV commentary box. A brilliant drive today. How did you find that one?
A bit harder than maybe I would have liked, but it was good. I mean, this is my favorite car in iRacing, so I was excited when I saw it come up this morning. But just really enjoyed the race, and I got a bit of a close call there with Jonathan. So yeah, but it was a good race.
Yeah, we were certainly that he was using every last bit of brake pressure and more to try and get up the inside of you there. Now, of course, with your experience in British F3, I'm presuming that Silverstone's a circuit that you know very well, both in the real world and in the sim. My question is how important is that transfer from the real world circuit to the sim?
I think it's definitely important. I mean, for me, Silverstone's only 15 minutes away, so it's my local track, which is pretty cool. But I think when you drive like different sim models of Silverstone on all sorts of different software, so on iRacing, for example, they are all a bit different, especially since Silverstone got resurfaced recently. But I think, you take bits from each different type of Silverstone, including the real one. And I think it's just that kind of memory pattern you get built up. You get very good at changing, because maybe 5 different lines through a corner, or different techniques that can work with different cars. So it just gives you just a wide range of stuff to play with. And I think it's a really awesome track, especially I think it's one of the best tracks in the world for racing.
I would have to agree. It's always a cracker on both 2 and four wheels. Now, Bart, we're not. We're a little bit away from the start of the racing season proper, but what are your plans for this season out on track?
Well, I'm hoping to compete in British F3 again. I really enjoyed it last year, and I think if anything, I just want to do better and show my potential a bit more, and yeah, just get some more results because I really enjoy driving the car. Fantastic tracks, great series. So yeah, just another season back in the F3 car, and this time give it my all.
Oh, we're very much looking forward to that. Well, we look forward, hopefully, to speaking to you over the next couple of days for the final 2 rounds of the Ultimate eDriver Series. But if we don't, all the very best of luck for the season. Now, before we let you go, Bart, who would you like to give a shout out to here on Apex Racing TV?
I would like to give a shout out to the web guys who've helped out with my website and been really big supporters of me recently. And to be honest, I'm not even sure we'd be racing this year if it wasn't for them. So yeah, big thanks to Brian and everyone at the web guys.
There you go. You've heard it here first. If you want a proper your proper racer's website, the web guys, give them a look. Bart, thanks so much for coming to chat to us, and looking forward to speaking again very soon.
Yeah, thanks guys.
And well, we have Jack. I'm sure you'll agree. We have saved the best for last. We have young Alex Dunn, your fellow countryman, to have a chat to you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex, great to have you in once again. Mixing it up with the big boys again. Highest placed Carter in this race. How was it from your perspective?
The start was a bit messy. I think I had a bit of neck code on lap 1 with Sandy Mitchell, and I ended up going off the track, and I went down to P11, I think. And then I slowly started coming back through, and then I went off the track again when Eduardo went back up my inside. But then I think tried to stay calm, and I picked them off one by one, and then I just slowly got a gap when I got back into P6, and then it was kind of a lonely race from then on.
Yeah, LMP2, obviously an interesting car to drive. Is it one of your favourites, or is it one that you don't normally bother with?
I didn't really start driving it until about 2 or 3 days ago, but I think I can safely say that I'm quite fond of the car now. It's good fun to drive.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's certainly fun to look at as well. Now we don't know where we're going in 2 days' time, but remind us what's your hope for the next round? What do you hope to see on the drivers list?
I think car-wise, I'd probably like to see a GT3 now. Yeah, GT3. I think that's one of my favorites as well. And track, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure which track I'd like to go. I think Daytona would be quite good actually. Daytona, the road course.
Yeah, sounds good. GT3s in Daytona sounds all right. Alex, thanks for joining us as always. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to on Apex Racing TV?
I'd like to thank my parents, Enzo Mucci for hosting the championship, and all of my sponsors for helping me with the real world racing.
Great stuff. Well, Alex, we'll probably be speaking to you in 2 days' time, and thanks for joining us for a chat. As always, we'll see you in a few days.
Thank you.
Right. Well, Alex Dunn, always up for a chat, and great to speak to one of the Carters, mixing it up with the big boys up there.
Oh, he certainly was, and he was showing them a thing or two, wasn't he? That was fantastic to watch. I think, as Alex just mentioned there, perhaps if we just don't know what track or car we're going to have both on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock and Friday night at 7 o'clock for the final 2 rounds of the Ultimate eDriver Series, but tell you what, Jack, he's just that 2 or 3% away from being up there on the podium with the guys. So who knows? But there's quite a lot of drivers have mooted a GT car, so there's going to be a few guys in the same boat. It's certainly been fascinating to watch that. We must give a huge thank you to the sponsors of this event, of course, the Racing Driver Coach Show, Enzo Mucci, and Track Racer as well. And Jack, I was speaking to a friend who recently took delivery of a Track Racer rig, and he mentioned particularly the attention to detail on their equipment, even down to the screws. They've got a little TR on the end of the screws, so you know it's a proper factory Track Racer screw. Stuff like that. As you know me, I'm a bit of a nerd. I like that kind of stuff. But if you watch this broadcast and you're new to sim racing, or you want to get involved, if you want to do it properly, get yourself a proper rig set up, and Track Racer supply that sort of stuff. Also, if you like these fancy graphics which we have here on Apex Racing TV, you too can have that for your own streams via our software provider, SDK Gaming, and they will be able to give you all the information there about how to get involved with that. Also, if you want to go faster on iRacing, get in touch with us for the Apex Racing Academy and learn off recent Porsche Esports Super Cup winner Kevin Ellis Jr. And Jack, we've got a couple of Ultimate eDrivers over the next couple of days, and then we'll be back for the team stream for the Tag Heuer Super Cup on Saturday. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be from Barcelona, Catalonia. Obviously, we're going to be focusing on the Apex Racing team and the Rahal Letterman Lanigan Esports team, of course, newly formed, and debut winners as well with Kevin Ellis Jr., as you mentioned. But yeah, if you do want to improve your sim racing, then learn from the best. Learn from those guys, not from us.
Definitely not. Whatever you do, don't listen to myself and Jack Canan. We talk a good game. We're good at that. We're definitely good at the armchair driving, but not so much at the actual driving. I'm looking forward to my my lessons with Kevin Ellis Jr. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. A huge thank you to you for tuning in to this broadcast tonight on Apex Racing TV. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in 2 days' time, Wednesday, the 13th of January, 7 p.m. GMT, and we'll be back for another edition of the Ultimate eDriver series. Thanks for watching.